Hello, Anna. Thank you for joining us with Conversations with MM today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Hi there, everyone. Good afternoon and welcome to Conversations with MM. This is Marivir Montebon here in New York City. How are you all? Hope everybody's doing well this Friday. And this week we celebrated with friends the Lunar New Year for 2025. I was at the Likha Art Cafe in Hawthorne, New York, and I enjoyed it very much because it was a celebration with families and new friends as well. So I'd like to introduce the Bittermelon, which is a nonprofit organization that provides education and safe spaces for young children and teenagers for their growth, heritage and cultural growth, their knowledge and I would say imbibition, the acquisition of the Asian culture and heritage that they have from their parents. So I had a very wonderful conversation with the executive director of the bittermelon.org, Miss Al Lee, and teacher Andrei. Miss Lee is Korean by heritage, and Andrei is a Filipino. So I had a great conversation with them regarding their organization and the education program that they provide to young children and adults and teenagers. So I'd like to thank and say hi to my good friend Emma, who co-owns Likha Art Cafe, who's very accommodating and warm. Thank you so much. I had a very wonderful time with you and good friend Cherry, as well as my media colleagues Dawn and Dave, who were there, and as well as Boyet. Now let's take a look at what transpired at Likha Art Cafe during the celebration of the Lunar New Year.
People from the Bittermelon here. So we have the founding executive director, Alice. She's right here. If you want to learn a little bit more about the Bittermelon, you could definitely come up to her and she'll tell you about it. And we also have two founding students who are a part of this organization, Ava and Lily, who will also be participating in the read aloud today. And of course, we're very thankful for our space here today. Thank you, Emma, who's over there, who's the founding owner of Likha Art Cafe. It is just such a great space to do work, to get food and snacks and different things. So we're just really excited to be here today. So we're going to start off with story time, and we're going to learn a little bit about what Lunar New Year is. And this is part of a series that we're doing here with the Bittermelon and Likha Art Cafe, where we're going to start having story times here every other Sunday. You could figure out when those things are happening on the Bittermelon website, but also on the Likha Art Cafe social media. So we're going to go ahead and start with the story time. Afterwards, there's going to be 3 different stations of activities to do. You can do the Year of the Snake color and draw station. You can do a gratitude station with the red envelopes, and then also make a wish by creating a dumpling, where you can put a wish inside the dumpling. So we're going to go ahead and start with the Lunar New Year read aloud. And so if the kids, if they can come up closer to here, because we're going to talk a little bit about Lunar New Year. And so if you are a kid, you could sit up here in the front before we go ahead and get started. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start with the read aloud. And here is Ava and Lily. And I'm Neo. Hi, Neo. Thanks for coming.
New Year's loud firecrackers scare away naughty spirits. New Year's coming. Bang, bang, bang. Today's change is New Year's Eve. All the shops are closed. It's a holiday. Xiaomi wears red for good luck.
Guys, think about it. How does your family celebrate the New Year and what traditions do you do? We have two people to share what they generally have to share. Yeah. Go ahead.
Watch the Lunar New Year video. It was by me, Leo.
Neo, yes. We did watch that. Awesome. Yeah, what did you write? Good. Staying up till 12 midnight and then hanging out with their family. Yep. Yes, watch the ball drop. I'm sure a lot of people watch the ball drop on around New Year's. Yeah.
This year I stayed at my friend's.
Nice. You stayed with your you said you stayed at your friend's house? Oh, okay, the family friends came over. Good. So there's many different traditions that people engage with. I know for me, as a Filipino, we definitely, my dad likes to make pancit, which is this long noodles represents long life. And then also we have like 12 round fruit that kind of represents the wholeness of the new year, and we just put it around the table. So there's many different things. We also go to people's houses and then watch the ball drop. So there's many different traditions that people do for New Year's, and that's usually December 31st to January 1st. But as you learned today, that on Lunar New Year, there are many other different traditions. Can some people share, like, what did you learn that was different from the traditions you do on January 1st? So what are some different ones that you learned about? Yeah. Oh. Yeah, what you learned about. Good. So everybody in Korea turns 1 year older this year. It's like a birthday celebration for them. Good. What else did you learn that was different in here or similar? Yeah. Good. Lighting fireworks. So seeing that there's a bunch of fireworks, the lights are extremely important. Good. And let me get one more. One more thing that they learned from the book about the different traditions of Lunar New Year. One more.
Yeah. Showing respect and gratitude to your elders and getting money.
Yes. Showing gratitude and getting bowing and getting money from your elders. That's something that's different from the different traditions. I think also what's really important with all these traditions, it's about bringing people together. It's about having family.
Hi, Al. Thank you so much for joining us in Conversations with MM. And so tell us about your nonprofit, Bittermelon.
Hi. So the Bittermelon was kind of a natural slow growth creation that happened in 2023 officially, but the pilot programs began at the height of the pandemic in 2021.
I see.
Yeah. So when all of the anti-Asian like sentiments were at its height during the pandemic,
Right.
I saw that. I'm sure you.
Yes, of course, we covered that.
Yeah.
A lot of sad news on that.
I know, it's crazy. So there were a lot of kids that were getting bullied, and it honestly made me think of when I was a kid, and I grew up in New York City.
Yeah.
But like, it was the same stuff that was happening from when we were growing up in New York City, happening again.
So there's a personal experience to it.
Yeah, I felt like it was kind of crazy that kids are getting bullied just because they were Asian. And, you know, another aspect was I realized I actually didn't know any Asian American history. Like, I knew about Asian history, like what happened in Korea and China, like, but I didn't know about the American history of Asians. And once I realized that this is crazy, like, we're Asian Americans that are growing up, we're born and raised here, and we don't know anything about our history as Americans of Asian descent in this country. And I think that was a large reason why bullying also happens, because kids are telling Asian American kids to go back to where they came from and things like this. And it's like, what is that? Like, that's New York. Like, that's where we came from is New York, right? Yeah. So
why do you call it bittermelon?
Oh my God, so it's so funny.
You know, Filipinos eat bittermelon, right?
My first time eating bittermelon was actually at a Filipino restaurant.
I see.
In
And you liked it?
In Queens. So the first time I ate it, I was like, this is not very good.
It's
But-
bitter.
But now
Yeah.
we eat it regularly. We love it.
It's healthy.
So the reason why I chose the name Bittermelon was because I thought it was a really interesting vegetable that's like a very specific, unique vegetable to Asian American
Right.
communities. You know,
Mhm.
like the Indian community has bittermelon, Chinese, like Filipinos, like a lot of Asian American communities eat
Yes.
bittermelon, and it's highly nutritious. But it's kind of like a vegetable that only the Asian community knows about.
Yes.
So I thought it was like a cute like way to just, I don't know.
It's healthy too for like especially for people who are diabetic.
It's super healthy. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really healthy for you, and
You
and I
can grow it
think
in your
that-
garden and at the back of your house.
yeah, and you know, so like I like studied herbalism for a couple of years, and I read that
I see.
bitter foods like it like it's actually it fosters like a nourishing
Mhm.
aspect, and I just thought it was really interesting that we could have a name that has something that's like bitter, because actually a lot of the stories and experiences of Asian Americans in the US have a form of bitterness.
Yes,
right?
you're right.
But like bitterness is nourishing, you know?
Yeah.
And
It's
I feel like
good for the body.
exactly. So I feel like the bitter melon is a really great name
Appropriate.
where it shows like through the bitterness we're still nourishing, like through education, through activism,
like that.
you know.
So where do you hold office?
So we primarily work out of Hawthorne, and we do. So the structure of the program is that we do all of our academic curriculum after school once a week, September to Juneteenth,
Okay.
by Zoom, and then the in-person we do at places like Likha Art Center and the Hudson Valley Bookstore in Austin,
Mhm.
and we do the story times and book readings there, like activities. So all of our and all of our things that are also the Hudson Valley Books for Humanity is also owned by Asian American, just like Likha Art Cafe. So I think it's like really meaningful that we have spaces that
You have
promote the local
partnerships.
business.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
so nice.
Yeah, this the pilot program that I created in 2021 was primarily to encourage Asian American teens to learn about their identity as both American and as their ethnic heritage.
Oh, nice.
So it's very different from like Chinese school or Korean school where they learn about their language and culture. Through the Bittermelon, they were learning about their American identity and American culture, and then we focused on children as young as like 3, 4, 5 years old through children's story time,
Mhm.
because we also realized that in that age group, kids are not being read stories that hold Asian Americans in the like like the story as,
Right.
as part of the identity as an American story. So we realize that racism also happens at a really young age.
Yes.
So we incorporate the story time for little children of all, all groups, because we want all kids to see that Asian Americans.
It's good that you
belong
start
in America.
early.
Yeah.
You start them early.
Right. And so we have the teens usually lead the story time.
Uh-huh.
So it's a really great way for us to empower the teens first, and then have the teens then empower
Teach
the
the
younger
younger
children.
ones.
Yeah, so
That's
it's
a good
really great setup.
strategy. It's so good to actually find you here.
I'm actually really excited, and I just want to say that this partnership at Likha Art Center would not have been possible without Andrei. So I'm really
Here's
excited.
Andrei.
So I recently met Andrei in December, just last month.
Oh.
And we've been kind of like brainstorming things that we can do, and the Likha Art Center, the art cafe was just like something that happened really organically.
Mhm.
And so this is our first event here, and I think that like the turnout and the way everything went, it just shows that there is a need for this kind of space and community and work, especially in Westchester.
Right.
And it was pretty
Tell us what you do for Bittermelon, Andre.
Yeah, so hi, my name is Andre. I am a collaborator with the Bittermelon, and I'm actually an educator. I have taught middle school from Chicago, DC, and Philadelphia.
Uh-huh.
And so I had come back to New York to, finish my graduate degree, and I met Al
Wow.
through another friend to talk a little bit about what they're doing with the Bittermelon. And what I love about the Bittermelon, as she talked about, is just the way that leadership is being imposed on youth.
Mhm.
I think as someone who's an educator, I also experienced where we didn't really learn about Asian American history and the contributions that we give here in the United States. A lot of it that is taught in schools is about oppression. But what Al and the Bitter Melon want to focus on is joy and the joy of Asian Americans and what we do. And so I wanted to partner with her because I thought it was so fantastic that she was really bringing leadership to the youth. And then also just really inspiring other Asian youth to just be out there, celebrate their culture, and to really push this notion that Asian American history deserves to be out in these spaces. Yeah, really important.
Great.
Yeah.
So what is I understand here the kids are enjoying so much. They're doing this gratitude station. And this is a family event, which also, strengthens the bond of the dads and moms and grandmas. So is this you brainstorm this?
Yeah, so we see a lot of Lunar Year events.
Yeah.
But one aspect of it that drives me nuts is that it's like Chinese New Year all the time. Chinese New Year, Chinese New Year, and I'm like,
Then I see the dragons and all that parading.
there's no celebrate Lunar New Year. It's not
Oh,
celebrating.
yes, yes.
So when we wanted to do a Lunar New Year event, we wanted to incorporate all of different communities, not just one. And also, we wanted to focus on the actual bringing it back to the home, to the family. A lot of the activities that we see is a show or a demonstration. You just go there and watch a performance.
Yeah.
We wanted something where people come, families come together, and they remember what is the purpose of our lives together. What are we grateful for, and how can we restore mindfulness and a sense of gratitude, right? So we kind of really created these different stations, like the gratitude wall and the make it dumpling wish making. So that it can really remind families and set the intention for the new year, why we're here, what is our plan for the new year, and how are we going to become better people, how are we going to contribute to society or to our family. It doesn't have to be to society, but how are we going to be even better to our brother and sister and to our parents.
Very nice, very profound.
We just want to really focus on the small immediate units, and then let it grow from there. So I feel like our Lunar New Year event is really special because it's really intimate, and it's fun. You get to meet the community, the families, and everybody here ends up really kind of recognizing each other and growing together.
Yeah, and I think the other aspect of it too is that we incorporated the arts into it. I think it's really important that arts is incorporated into everything. It's also a healing mode. It's something that allows people to express the way that they feel or that they are. As you can see some of the artwork back here, the kids get to draw and do those things. And so we feel like art is something that brings people together as well. And so when we collaborated, we wanted to make sure that we had elements of art along with the history and the different traditions. And to what Al said as well, what we loved is that there was just such a diverse group of people here from all over Westchester. And I think it's just so great that in Westchester that we have this space to celebrate, Asian cultures and Lunar New Year in general.
So are you also teaching children, if ever you do, how they navigate bullying and all that? Is it incorporated?
We just had a wellness session on healthy boundaries and bullying and all that. So the way the academic program is set up at the Bittermelon is there's a fall semester and a spring semester.
I see.
And in the fall semester, there's Asian American history curriculum. There is a wellness curriculum, a mental health, we call it wellness circles. And then we have the leadership portion.
Wow.
And then in the spring curriculum, there's the we still have the Asian American history curriculum, part 2, and then we have the continuation of the wellness circles.
I see.
And then the third portion of the spring semester is the volunteer practicum. So they would actually take what they learn and start using it towards like contributing to volunteering society or
Oh, nice.
something.
So you have teachers, you hire teachers, or are they volunteer teachers?
That's volunteer. Our organization is 100% volunteer run. It's like actual certifying organization, a 501c3. We're all donation based. But because it's like 100% volunteer run, our overhead is really limited to the cost of like, the website hosting
Yes.
costs.
Right.
Yeah, like overhead stuff like that. But we don't have to spend money on other things. Like, so it's honestly like beyond that, I would say the next biggest expense is food. Kids
For the children.
want they will just
eat.
like so much food. And it's like before the past it was like usually pizza. But I actually realized that we should actually like incorporate different kinds of foods that foster education around nutrition. Because I realized that kids
And cultures, I guess.
they actually are not taught good nutrition in school systems. Like school systems, they feed them like tater tots and fried burgers and
Not healthy.
So I feel like we actually should incorporate a form of like education on healthy lifestyle and like sleep, eating, nutrition as part of the Bittermelon curriculum as well. But that's probably for later. Right now, the 3 main things that we focus on is Asian American history, the wellness circles, and the leadership volunteer practicum.
Okay, so how do you answer children when they have problems on being bullied by classmates or older people? And also, like, there's a national conversation right now, which is people are more frightened compared to a few years back. How do you make children feel not anxious, feel protected and loved?
We actually do have ongoing work with students, and a lot of students do feel anxiety and have challenges in school with their identity.
Yeah.
I want to say that there's a lot more to like what is causing that than just like bullying, right? Like there's the issue of like social media and the constant use of social media and like the mental health of like the way kids are like just going about their day to day. They're not interacting with as many kids anymore. There's not as strong of a society and a community that comes together physically in person. Today, you see a lot more teens that go into their rooms and then just disappear.
And they don't talk. Yes.
Right. So we're trying to address like issues of like mental health, wellness, anxiety, bullying, and all of that by bringing them into a space where they're actually seen and heard, and we get to talk about it as a group on a regular basis. So then we can actually, so when kids have a strong social foundation and they actually feel supported, I feel that the anxiety goes down.
Yes.
But when kids don't have anywhere to turn to, which is a huge problem for Asian American kids with immigrant parents, they don't feel there's a language and cultural barrier that they have with their parents. So kids that don't have anyone to turn to when they do have issues, and they will, all kids will have issues.
Yes.
So when they do have issues, we just make sure that there is a space for them to turn to, and by having that, like, we structure our organization largely like the Big Brother and Big Sister, because I'm actually a former Big Sister in the Big Brother Big Sister program, and I learned so many amazing things by being a Big Sister, and so I think that having that element of just allowing the students to have regular interactions with somebody that they can turn and talk to is probably the single most important thing that we can do for our youth.
That's nice. Yeah, and is Andrei active in that?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that I wanted to add on to is that I think what Bittermelon does really well, and when we're talking a little bit about mental health, is this aspect of like promoting self-love and loving
Yes.
yourself. Because I think in a world with a lot of social media and a lot of things happening in school, we often forget like how much love we need to have for ourselves. And having been a teacher for so long, I've seen it so much in the classroom where you kind of like have to like change the mindsets about like how they feel about themselves.
Right.
So I think with the Bitter Melon and the programming with other Asian American youth or just other people in general and having a space for that, not only are they having those social interactions, but they're learning to love like who they are and their culture, especially in schools and places that don't promote that.
Mhm.
I think that's really important. And I really love that the Bitter Melon does that for our youth.
Yes. So, Andre, what do you teach?
Yeah, so I used to teach middle school, so grades 5 through 8. And I usually teach English language arts and social studies.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And with Bittermelon, you teach history?
Yeah, I just started with them actually.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
this is our first event that we've done together with.
Yeah. And it's a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing start.
We're really excited about like Andre coming in and actually meeting his stories time at Likha Art Cafe. So this was like a pilot for because it's the first time
Amazing,
New York
right?
State, has now Lunar New Year off for all the public school children.
Mhm.
So now that they have this day off and we're able to do this pilot program with the Lunar New Year, we can see the need for the community. And we're hoping that Andre will be able to lead story time here at Likha Art Cafe.
So, what day is it scheduled every day? I mean, every week here.
Yeah, so we're actually starting February 15th, Sunday from 10:30 to noon. We're going to just start doing story time every week on different books. So like the first one on February 15th is going to be about love and Valentine's Day.
Yes.
We're going to do a couple of weeks where we talk a little bit about Black history
Oh, yeah.
and also just share a little bit of like the coalition between Asian Americans and Black Americans as
That's
well.
very exciting.
Yes. And then the one that I'm excited for too in March that we're going to do like what is a community and
Uh-huh.
how do we build community together? And so these stories are to help build the notion of like how do we build community with each other,
Mhm.
but also just express that through art and be with each other. And so I'm just so excited to like continue
Wow.
this work with the Bitter Melon and also with like our art cafe to just continue story time because literacy is extremely important
Mhm.
for everybody. And we can do literacy through reading books, literacy through art. There's so many just different ways that we could do that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, like
definitely.
to be seen as an Asian American for children is just really important. Because I mean, I can tell you, I grew up in New York City, but
Mhm.
none of my teachers were Asian American, and none of the books, none of the stories, nothing had Asian American in it.
So, did you have some growing up? Did you have some identity question, identity
gosh,
crisis? Yeah.
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 I was so ashamed about being Asian. I
Uh-huh.
was straight up just like
Yeah.
when
Uh-huh.
we would go out with my family on vacation to like the Poconos, I was
Yeah.
just embarrassed.
You would not mingle? Or how is that expressed?
It was just I was just really embarrassed. Like I did not want to be seen in
Wow.
public because
That's huge, right?
it's so bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I am really sad about my childhood because I had carried so much shame about being
No.
Asian that I didn't get to enjoy it with my family. Like in public spaces, I was always like really ashamed. But then when we were in Korean spaces, then I was like,
It was okay.
yeah, it was okay. But like we can't just stay in like bubbles of
Yeah.
Korean communities all the time,
Mhm.
you know? So I don't want
Did you tell your parents about that? And did they do something?
I don't think it did. Again, like there's cultural
They
like
just, yeah. Uh-huh.
so I think that what I really want for my students is to know because there are some students that do carry that shame
Yes.
of being an Asian face.
Different looking.
Yeah, like I don't want like the kids to experience that same kind of shame of who they are when they belong in this country just as much as anyone else.
Right.
You know, they were born here, they're American. We have a history as Americans. But yeah, we have an Asian face, but we're American.
Uh-huh.
And the kids, I think as long as they grow up proud of who they are, you know, I feel like my job is done. You know, that's my goal.
Maybe you're doing this for your children too.
Oh, I know I'm doing it for my
Definitely,
children,
yeah.
for
Uh-huh.
sure. Like if you know, if I really think about the impact that I have on the students that have been in our program and graduated on,
Mm-hmm.
they've all come back as once they went to college,
Mm-hmm.
like they want to still be a part of the Bittermelon because
Nice.
I think that there's something special that we have that really fosters a sense of family and community. Like they know that we'll always be there for them, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that is just missing in a lot of places. So
Amazing.
Yeah, I think like also for myself, like when I was younger, I was also embarrassed a little bit about showing like what my culture was. Especially,
Oh.
I was like one of the very few Asians in my class.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of the times I think a lot about my childhood in terms of like people making fun of my eyes. And I just felt embarrassed similarly to like showcase our culture outside of
What
our
is your heritage, Andre?
Filipino.
Filipino.
Yeah. And so it was a little bit hard, but I think the more that we continue to do this, I think as an educator to promote like who I am and my language, it kind of encourages other students to do so as well. And, you know, being a part of the Bittermelon, this is the first time that I'm working with demographically Asian students. I
Nice.
haven't in the past, but I think it's important for Asian teachers to also just show up in schools so that other kids can learn about the different Asian cultures and get that exposure. So I think this is why like this collaboration is like extremely important and like she said, representation throughout the communities because Asians are not monoliths. There's so many
You were
different
very
Asian
diverse,
cultures.
actually.
Yeah, like there's so
Yeah.
many different countries, so many different cultures, and I think it's important not to lump us all in one group and just say like, oh, it's just Asian culture. Like as we saw in the read aloud today,
Yeah.
the kids learned that there's different Lunar New Year traditions
Uh-huh.
in different countries, and I think that is extremely important in our society today.
Well, thank you very much and all the best for what you will do this year. It's so good to talk to you today. It's inspiring to a good start, actually.
an amazing start to the new year. I'm
Yeah.
really excited about. I mean, the Bittermelon now is still a baby, really,
Uh-huh.
organization, but the
Well,
fact
babies
that,
grow, you know.
I mean, it's growing so fast,
Uh-huh.
and I think that shows that that's the need.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that it's not even we don't do that much marketing.
Mm-hmm.
It's really through word of mouth with kids, and they all just tell their friends, and then you just get kids like saying that they want to join too. And so I think it's just the fact that it's growing organically
Mm-hmm.
is its own sign that
Amazing.
yeah.
Love it.
And so for anybody out there who feels that they need, you know, a space
belong.
to be like belong and also feel supported and also learn about their space and identity, I do have to say that the Bittermelon is a commitment. Like because to have a healthy family, you must put effort in. And if you think that, you know, even in your own family, you know, just because you're a part of the family, you can just do whatever you want and go and do whatever you know, feel like that's not a healthy family, right?
Uh-huh.
The Bittermelon is a commitment. When you're in, we expect you to be a part of the group and be present every week and communicate regularly because that's how you grow and foster positive, healthy relationships, you know? And so if there's anyone that's interested, you're always welcome to reach out.
Yay. That was Al Lee, the executive director of the Bittermelon, and volunteer teacher Andrei during the celebration of the Lunar New Year at the Likha Art Cafe. So I had wonderful time and it was a great conversation, very inspiring. And they operate in Westchester County. So people who are living there, just go check it out at Likha. They will officially start their reading classes, reading programs with young children on February 15. So all the best and thank you very much, Likha Art Cafe, for that collaboration. It makes the community very dynamic and a heartwarming place for children to grow up and have good memories and establish their identities very soundly and very happily, right? That's what we always want to do for the young kids. So that was a wonderful conversation. And once again, I'd like to invite the community that on March 1, we are going to hold the kickoff concert for Women's Month. This is the concert is called Women Defying Gravity. Yes, we are defying gravity in the sense that we defy poverty and all the iniquities that life presents. So we are so honored to have the performers, our young artists, uh, Thomas John Castañares, balladeer, and Huwon Barlaan, pianist. So be there, and your support will give you will sustain the programs of the Women's Federation for World Peace, Ambassadors for Peace program for young people, young Filipinos, as well as our podcast, the Narratives of Truth podcast, being promoted by We Cafe and Conversations with MM, okay, and Women in Media. So take a listen to this and enjoy the concert. It's time to join the Everybody say, oh. Okay, you can send in your donation through Zelle at telephone number 347-776-6836. So your $100 donation is going to go a long way in promoting leadership among our young people and for the promotion of truth at this time of disinformation. So please, thank you so much for supporting us and continue being wonderful citizens in these very challenging times. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. See you again in our future episodes. Take care. Bye, everyone, and thank you.